I'm the Scrub and you're here for one reason. Alright, the 13th. Heading through the portal to a hostile reception. And we're in a dungeon. I understand that you call this Reddit, but this is clearly a dungeon. We could have been ported to anywhere on the planet, and we've ended up here. Great. No, I can't ask the people around the area where Ajdayar is. This is Reddit. All they do is post art commissions and want congratulatory praise for opening a menu. Let's just go searching ourselves. Time to learn about the Fell Court of Troia. Simplified. If you use the duty support system, I'd recommend single pulling this dungeon. Walk up the corridor and 6 enemies will spawn in. When they become targetable, pick them up and go through the door and turn around the corner to the right. Head through the next door where you'll meet 2 Trojan scavengers. Watch out for all of the AoEs from all of the enemies and kill everything. When everything has been defeated, the door will open. Head through the open door and turn left. Pick up the 4 pawns and head up the stairs. At the top of the stairs, there'll be another scavenger and 6 more enemies will spawn in after you attack this mob. Group everything up, avoid all of the AoEs, and kill everything. When everything has been defeated, the door will open and it's first boss time. This boss fight is a bunch of smaller enemies in waves. The first wave is 8 evil dreamers. When all of these have been defeated, the second wave will begin, which will start with 5 more dreamers spawning in the middle of the arena and 8 more untargetable dreamers spawning against the wall. All of the ones on the wall will begin to cast Dark Vision, which will fire a laser in narrow straight line AoEs from their positions. These will overlap in the middle of the arena and create a bow tie of these narrow straight line AoEs. You'll just need to get to the sides of the arena from where the heads are positioned to dodge this. If you get hit by any of these AoEs, they will give you a Vol stack per AoE you are hit by. After the AoEs fire, the dreamers will move off the wall and become targetable. Nuke down all of these mobs. The third wave will be similar to the second. 5 dreamers will spawn in the middle and several more will spawn around the arena and be untargetable. There will be an additional 4 more dreamers that will spawn in and target every party member with a point blank AoE. So everyone will need to spread out to avoid overlapping the AoEs and each make your way to a spot between the narrow straight line AoEs to avoid any extra damage. When everything goes off, all of the dreamers will become targetable. Kill everything. The 4th wave will start with 6 untargetable dreamers spawning at the north end of the arena. You'll need to see if they are covering the left side or the right side and you'll have to make your way to the opposite side of the arena. As you're moving across, a bunch of larger dreamers will spawn in and each have an AoE around them with the cast of Unite Mare. You will need to defeat at least one of these dreamers on the safe side of the arena to avoid all of the other attacks. If you get hit by a Unite Mare AoE, it will give you a Vol stack. When everything goes off, all of the heads will become targetable. When these mobs have been defeated, it's time for the final wave. 9 dreamers will spawn in, but they will all merge and become one massive dreamer. This large head will start casting Endless Nightmare. This is a 1 minute long slow cast. If this cast ends, it will instantly enrage and wipe the group. It will also give itself a HP up buff. This will give it extra health, but it will still be fairly easy to get down today. Several additional untargetable dreamers will appear around the arena and 3 of them will have medium-sized AoEs around them. The other heads will tether to either 1 or 2 of the dreamers with an AoE underneath them. You will need to look for which of the heads have been tethered as these ones will grow much larger, probably more larger than you're anticipating. If you get hit by any of these AoEs, it will give you a Vol stack. You'll just need to defeat the larger dreamer to finish the fight. Exit out of the arena and head down the ramp to move to the next area. Head up the stairs and pick up the 4 enemies. Go up the stairs to the left and across the next room and head up the next set of stairs. Pick up the rest of the enemies in this room, group everything up, and kill everything while avoiding all of the AoEs as best you can. When everything has been defeated, the door will open for you. Pick up the 4 hounds on the other side of the table, exit out of the room, and turn left. Follow the gallery around to the right, picking up the Headless Horseman and the Bishop who are just outside the door. Group everything up, avoid all of the AoEs as best you can, and nuke it all down. When everything has been defeated, the doors will open, and it's second boss time. Beatrice will move into the middle of the room and cast Eye of Troia. This is a room-wide AoE that will also create a staring contest in a ring that will slowly shrink towards the boss. When the ring reaches the boss, the look away mechanic will go off, so make sure that you are looking away from Beatrice when the ring is almost ready to touch the boss. If you fail to look away in time, you'll be given an Assunerable debuff of Doom for 15 seconds. If this debuff is not Assunered by the time it expires, it will cause your health bar to expire instead. The cast of Beatific Scorn will cause the boss to fire lasers into the ground one at a time around the arena. 1 in front, 2 on the sides, and 1 behind. These lasers will cause the circles that they are touching to explode. You'll have to look at the pattern on the floor to see which circles will be exploding. You'll need to stand in the circles of the laser that spawned in last and then move into the first set of explosions to dodge the attack. Getting hit by any of these AoEs as they explode will give you a Vol stack. I do have a trick for this mechanic. I look for whichever laser spawns in first on the side and then whichever laser spawns in last either in front or behind. I will then move to this little gap between the outside circles and the middle circles of whichever laser spawned in last, which is next to the first set of explosions. When the first set of circles explode, I only need to move a couple of steps into them and I'll be safe for the rest of the mechanic. Hush is a tank buster. Beatrice will then move back into the middle of the room, turn to a random party member and cast Void Shaker, which is a codal AoE directed towards this player. Just move to the side of the AoE to avoid it. As this is casting, everyone will get a point blank AoE on them, so everyone will need to spread out as best they can to avoid overlapping these. If you get hit by the conal AoE, it will give you a Vuln stack. The next cast of Eye of Troia will be 2 rings instead of 1, and will also be 2 sets of these instead of 1. These will go off on opposite sides of the arena, so the easiest way to avoid getting hit by it is to look away from the boss towards the wall between both of the shrinking rings. When you look away from one and it goes off, you'll need to quickly reposition yourself to look away from the next pair of shrinking rings to avoid the doom. While this is happening, Beatrice will cast Toric Void, which is a donut AoE around the outside of the arena. This will reduce the safe area to the middle of the arena, so avoid the AoE and look away from the staring contests as best you can. If you get hit by Toric Void, you'll get a Vuln stack. As this is about ready to finish casting, everyone will get a point blank AoE, so you'll have to spread out as best you can. When Beatrice starts casting the next Beatific Scorn, one player will get a stack marker. Group up to share the damage. From here, Beatrice will overlap and repeat mechanics until it has been defeated. Exit out of the arena, go around the throne and behind the curtain. Go up the stairs and move to the next area. Follow the path around to the left and pick up the 4 trappers. Turn right and head up the stairs. When you reach the top of the stairs, you'll be greeted by 2 butlers. You can stop here and kill everything. As you're attacking these mobs, more AoEs will be created with thin arrows pointing down onto them. These will be additional flying mobs that you'll need to pick up and destroy. When everything has been defeated, the gate at the top of the next set of stairs will open. Ascend these stairs and pick up the 4 mobs at the top and turn right. There will be 2 stewards guarding the next gate. Pull these 2 and more flying mobs will come down and join the fight. Avoid all of the AoEs as best you can and kill everything. When everything has been defeated, you can head up the stairs and walk over the pink and purple jump pad and it will launch you to the final boss. Cursed Echo is a room-wide AoE that will also give all players an unassumable bleeding debuff for 12 seconds. Scarmiglione will move into the middle of the room and cast Rotten Rampage. This will be 3 sets of medium-sized AoEs around the arena in 3 sets. At the same time as these are going out, everyone will get a point-blank AoE on them. There will be several safe zones around the arena, so just spread out and avoid overlapping these AoEs. Getting hit by any of the AoEs on the ground will give you a Vuln stack. Any of the AoEs on the ground and the point-blank AoE will also give you a debuff called Brain Rot. If you manage to get 3 stacks of Brain Rot, you'll be turned into a zombie with the debuff of Zombification for 15 seconds. This will make you lose control of your character and attack your closest party member, and you will more than likely auto-attack them to death without any healing. Also, the AoEs of Rotten Rampage will also create a toxic puddle around the outside of the arena. Touching this wall will give you an unassumable Toxicosis knock tick for 15 seconds. Any AoE, either a ground AoE or the player's point-blank AoE that hits any of the walls on the outside of the arena will cause them to disintegrate. This is important for Scarmiglione's next cast of Blighted Bedevilment. This will be a purple knockback AoE for the middle of the arena. You will need to position yourself to be knocked into a wall. Knockback immunity will not work for this mechanic, so you'll need to make sure that you're in front of a wall by the time the cast ends. If you're in the purple knockback AoE when it goes off, it will instantly kill you. Scarmiglione will teleport into the middle of the arena again, face a certain direction, and create a sword in front of him as he casts Blighted Blade Work. He will rise up a little from his position and a red beam will extend from the sword onto the ground. Where this beam is touching the ground will be a large circular AoE from this point when the cast ends, so you will need to move to the opposite side of the arena to dodge this. Getting hit by this large AoE will give you a Vuln stack. After this, Scarmiglione will turn around and cast Blighted Sweep, which is an arena-wide straight line AoE to the open area of the arena. The only safe spot is behind the boss, so you'll need to move quickly to get behind him in time. Getting hit by this will give you a Vuln stack. Fire Damp is a small point-blank AoE tank buster, so the tank will need to stay away from the rest of the party as this tank buster will bust a non-tank player. After this, the boss will move to the north end of the arena and cast Creeping Decay. This will summon 8 Necroserfs into the arena as Scarmiglione becomes untargetable. A bar labeled Scarmiglione's power will appear. If this bar fills, the fight will enrage and wipe the group. Scarmiglione can create 2 different mechanics while you're trying to defeat the ads. It will either be with AoEs around the outside of the arena, which everyone will need to get into the middle of the arena to avoid, and this will be followed by everyone getting a point-blank AoE, so you need to spread out and avoid overlapping these. Or there will be 4 overlapping AoEs in the middle of the arena, so you'll need to get to the outside of the arena to avoid them, and this will be followed by one player getting a stack marker, so you'll need to group up to share the damage. If you get hit by any of the AoEs around the arena, you'll get a Vuln stack. When all of the ads have been defeated, Scarmiglione will perform their ultimate, which will be several small hits followed by one large hit of Corruptus Pitch. When Scarmiglione returns to the arena, he will repeat mechanics until he has been defeated. Congratulations, you have completed the Fell Court of Troia. My name is the Scrub. Thank you for watching.